I have all the different color iterations of the Citizen Tsuyosa in front of the camera today, save for the white dial. I was not able to source the white dial for this video, but other than that, these are all the colors as of July 2023. These are on loan from an authorized dealer called Strapseeker.com. I'll leave a link in the description of the video. But these are beautiful. This is a very fun release from Citizen. I am a fan of this release like many watch collectors out there. So let's talk about the good, let's talk about the bad, and let's talk about the idea behind the release. So you will notice the bright popular colors, the blue, the yellow, which is awesome, the green, the turquoise, the safe and versatile black, along with two recent colorway releases, the Fume Sunray Teal, which is my personal favorite, and the Fume Textured Blue. And that one, unlike the other versions, has a cream tone lume and natural light, which is very similar to the Longines Big Eye Avigation Chrono in titanium. Now, Citizen released this integrated bracelet design earlier this year in 2023, and I'd like to ask you, is this the strongest Japanese watch release of the year? There is an argument that could be made that it is. It has been a large success. Watch collectors are excited about the price. They're excited about the powerful presence, and probably most importantly, they like the more modest dimensions when you compare this to the smash hit Tissot PRX, and more on that comparison in a minute. Now, the model name Tsuyosa translates to strength, and I do think this is a strong release. In fact, again, it could be the strongest release from Japan this year. A valid argument could also be made that this is a reactionary watch or watch release, and that it is significantly derivative in design. Is that a bad thing? Not necessarily. Let's break down the various elements of this specific watch. Now, when it comes to Rolex DNA, there are near matches in terms of the popular bright pastel colorways that Rolex introduced in 2020 with the Rolex Oyster Perpetual. Though Citizen is missing the pink dial here, I think that could be a great future release for the Tsuyosa. I do think that this could be expanded with various sizes, various dial colors, various coated materials or complications. This is a versatile platform to play with. And I do enjoy how other brands are jumping onto this more colorful release wagon. I don't think brands would do it to the same degree that they currently are had it not been for the big success of the OP from Rolex back in 2020. But unlike those versions, these sharp, saturated executions carry a sunray finish as opposed to the lacquer dial of the OPs, but we do have very similar stick hands, very similar double 12 and double 6 o'clock markers here on the dial. There will be the distinctive Cyclops at the 3, and the bracelet mimics the president style bracelet of the day date. And that really is where I see, the only Rolex influences. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. I see this more as a Tissot competitor. It's not as overt as the Rolex Qs when it comes to the DNA derivation, but there were essentially zero integrated automatic sports models in the affordable side of the market until Tissot almost single-handedly revived their own brand with the release of the PRX. Now, the model has been a goldmine for Tissot. It remains one of the top consistent sellers in the affordable watch market, and I think that is for good reason. It really is a fantastic release, and because it is so good, because it sells so well, it really was only a matter of time before a large global brand attempted to capitalize on that newfound demand in that segment of the watch market. So I would consider this the first true mainstream competitor to the PRX. And I wonder if Citizen thought, well, we can't just come out with a PRX with a waffle dial or something like that. And maybe that's why they leaned harder into the Rolex DNA for part of this release. They really took the popularity of the price and idea of the PRX, and then they infused the popularity of the bold colors of the Rolex OP, and I wonder how successful this combination of different influences will really be for this Japanese brand. let's talk price because that is very significant. The Quartz PRX sits sub $400 in retail price, while the Powermatic 80 variation sits sub $700. Still affordable watches. This Tsuyosa sits at $450 full retail. They sell for less than that, and this will not have a quartz option. These are all fully mechanical movements, automatic movements. This is the Miyota 8210 caliber that now hacks. That's a great thing. They are a little bit difficult to wind with the recessed crown at the 4 o'clock position, but I like the fact that you can view this movement. Although it is not the most beautiful or the best finished, I kind of like the fact that it is gold or gilt tone. So a good mechanical movement for sub $450. Again, I mentioned Strapseeker.com lent these in for review. They are listed anywhere from $352 to $411, depending on the colorway that you opt for. Now let's compare this a little bit more directly to the PRX in terms of how it fits and how it wears on wrist, and I'll drop in some footage of both. Unfortunately, I don't have them side by side, but you'll be able to get a good idea through the direct comparison. Now this will wear smaller than the 40mm PRX, which fits more dominantly on wrist. It has a more powerful stance. This obviously wears larger than the 35mm variation. It seems to be a great middle ground between the two sizes, and I think it is tailored to those collectors who enjoy a slightly smaller fit, one that Tissot really doesn't have right now with the PRX. Imagine if they did 38 or 38.5. I think a lot of collectors would really love that. I think this Tsuyosa in the 40mm fits more like a 38 or 38 and a half PRX would fit. So not quite as dominant, but still a nice presence on wrist. Now, as I wrap up this video, I would like to be clear about something. I am not criticizing Citizen, or I am not criticizing any collector that is considering buying a Tsuyosa. Although I feel the concept is not original, that doesn't mean it's not a great idea. And I do think that there is room in the market for this watch. It is a very fun release, and I like the size. I think there is a lot to love for a sub $400 watch. And right now, that segment of the market really is dominated by various micro brands or used pieces from Switzerland, or possibly the Quartz PRX or the Hamilton Khaki Field Mechanical in 38mm. So another appealing option with a plethora of different colorways is just a good thing for us consumers. Now, is this the best value watch in the segment? No, in my opinion, it's not. I'm not trying to do clickbait here. I think the lume is pretty poor, pretty disappointing. The movement is fairly cheap. The clasp is pressed, and the bracelet flex is real with this watch. But again, it is a fun release. It won't break the budget. In fact, I think there are going to be collectors out there who will really want to pick a couple of their favorite colorways and just mix up the rotation, inject some color and flavor, maybe match a specific outfit, or perhaps you're going to support a specific sports team and you need to watch to properly do that. You have the options here. So again, this is a fun release. It's an interesting release. And I wonder, is this the strongest Japanese watch release of the year? Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any specific questions. I'd be happy to answer those in the comment section of the video. Please like this if you found it helpful, and please subscribe to the channel if you'd like more horological content just like this.